A warm welcome to News Now on TV360 Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari has been defending his continued rejection of the Electoral Amendment Bill. The president conveyed his reasons in a letter read out on the floor of the Senate during plenary on Tuesday. He asked the lawmakers to redefine some of the amendments, including the introduction of some key words to the act. The president asked the senators to define the term ward collection officer or revise it to reflect a more descriptive definition than the capitalized and undefined term registration area collection officer. Well, before reading the president's letter, the Senate resolved to probe alleged attacks on lawmakers in Kogi, Akwa Ibom, Benue and Ondo State. The lawmakers reached a resolution after a debate on a motion raised by Senate Minority Leader Biodun Olujimi. Olujimi had alleged that 18 lawmakers were injured in Ondo State after they were attacked by thugs. The revelation irked lawmakers who described the incident as an attack on Nigeria's democracy. The lawmakers have asked the Committee on Police to investigate the matter and report back to the Senate on their findings. The committee will visit the Ondo State House of Assembly and is expected to report back in 48 hours. And in the lower chamber, the All Progressives Congress has lost another member. Ibrahim Murtala, representing Musawa Matazu Federal Constituency of Katsina State, has dumped the party for the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Murtala announced the decision in a letter read on the floor of the House by the Speaker, Yakubu Dogara. He, however, did not state the reason for his defection. The lawmaker becomes the first elected official from President Muhammadu Buhari's home state of Katsina to dump the ruling party for another. The APC and PDP have lost a couple of their members in the past few months to other parties. Most defections have been blamed on the fallout of the recently concluded primary elections held across the country. And Nigeria has joined the rest of the world to celebrate the World Human Rights Day, but that celebration has been marred by allegations of human rights abuses against the Nigerian army. The army and the government have denied all the accusations. But here in Lagos, some activists and lawyers have been talking about the relevance of the day to the country's judicial system and Nigerian society as a whole. Oyin Adekunle has the rest of the details.
Human Rights Day is observed annually across the world on 10th December every year. In the face of the conflict in the northeastern part of Nigeria, global human rights group Amnesty International has constantly been on the neck of the federal government and security operatives, accusing them of aiding human rights violation in the region. But the government has constantly denied the claims, and the group has called on ICC to investigate the atrocities of both Boko Haram and the farmers' herders' crisis in the country.
Amnesty International, to me, is a hugely respected body, and they should have nothing particular against Nigeria or against the present administration of Nigeria. They are on the field, is what they see, that I believe they say.
Aside from the concerns in the northeast operations, Ogunlano also highlights cases of unlawful detentions and continued harassment of citizens by security operatives.
I consider the present administration as an abuser of human rights. As a government, as a body, there are many ready examples. The notorious one, like El Zakzaki, Dasuki, and the treatment of the IPOB people in the leadership. Not to talk of the daily incidences of brutalization, arrest and detention of people by security forces and agencies.
The president of the Women Arise for Change initiative, Joe Dumakin, however, believes the country is making steady progress in the fight.
As we speak, in times of insurgency, the government has been doing a lot but we still have a lot more to be done. No one has a right to take anyone's life. So in protecting lives and property, we see that life has become brutish, hellish, shortish. Boko Haram keeps violating rights, taking people's rights. People are burnt. You also see the question of the herdsmen. You see that life has become shortish, hellish, and brutish. Life has become so cheap and worthless. If we must respect fundamental human rights, government should not allow the refusal for court orders to be obeyed, to negate fundamental human rights.
Odumakin believes domestic violence is also one of the widespread form of human rights violation, which should also be addressed in every society.
Domestic violence is still on the increase, but I think the ability for us to create massive awareness will have courts, family courts that try this form of violence.
Complacency on the part of the Nigerian people and poverty has also been named as the probable causes for the prevalent cases of rights violation in the country.
The Nigerian citizens ought to wake up to challenge this by way of protest, by way of struggle, by way of saying we own this land together, and refusing to be complacent, and refusing to go to any mountain and depending on do ex machina, the intervention of the gods. There is no God anywhere going to intervene for you when you refuse to do the right thing.
The clamor for the respect and protection of rights should be a collective responsibility. Collective responsibility in that we have to play our own parts. As parents, we play our own parts. As teachers, as institutions, media. I'm sure when we begin to play our own parts, when we have synergy, then we're going to do a lot more.
In his address to mark the Human Rights Day, Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai has assured Nigerians and the international community of the Army's commitment to the respect of human rights. He says the military is willing to do its part to spread awareness and support for human rights every day. Unyi Adekunle, TV360, Nigeria.
Well, another subject that has generated concerns among the Nigerian government officials and the general public is the issue of drug abuse. President Muhammadu Buhari has been inaugurating some committees to tackle these problems, and Unyi Adekunle also has that story.
In May 2018, the Nigerian government banned the sale of codeine across the country as part of efforts to eliminate drug abuse in the country. Since then, the government has been embarking on several reforms to eliminate a drug abuse menace, which some experts, including federal lawmakers, fear is growing rampant among youths in the country. At this hall in the presidential villa, President Muhammadu Buhari is inaugurating two committees that will help steer those reforms in the right direction. The first committee is the Presidential Advisory Committee on the Elimination of Drug Abuse, which has his wife Aisha Buhari and wife of the Vice President Dolapo Shibajo as members. The second is Ministerial Steering Committee, which is headed by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa. The SGF then reels out the names of other members of the committee.
High-level steering committee is composed of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, with honorable ministers of health, education, youth and sports, women affairs and social development, finance, budget and national planning, justice, information and culture, labor and employment, and the secretariat by the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. And the second level, which is level 2, the Presidential Advisory Committee, has the following as members: Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired OFR as chairman. Her Excellency, Mrs. Aisha Muhammad Buhari as member. wife of the President, Her Excellency Mrs. Dolapo Oshibanjo, wife of the Vice President as member, the Governor's Wives Forum North as member, Governor's Wives Forum South as member, Mrs. Adejoke Olorebo Adefudo as member, the representative of the Office of the Secretary to the Government as member, representative of Nigerian Customs Services as member, representative of NAFDAC as member, representative of NDLE as member, representative of the Nigerian Police as member, representative of the United Nations Office of Drug and Crime as member, representative of the National Orientation Agency as member, representative of the Federal Minister of Health, the Federal Minister of Education, the Federal Minister of Sports and Youth, the Federal Minister of Justice, the Federal Minister of Information and Culture, and the Federal Minister of Labor and Employment, Federal Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development as members, and two representatives representing the Christian Association of Nigeria and the Jamaatul Nasir Islam, the Nigerian Bar Association, Professor Olu Watoyi Odeduku as member, Dr. Muhammad Kamal Abdurrahman as member, Dr. Abubakar Jibu as member, and Dr. Mairo Mandara as member.
After that, President Buhari charges both committees to find a collective solution to the drug abuse problem.
The Ministerial Screening Committee on the Elimination of Drug Abuse is charged with the responsibilities indicated in the following terms of reference. A. Integrate drug abuse issue into extant government policies and new initiatives. B. Provide strategic direction and guidance on drug abuse issues. C. Serve as a linkage between the federal government and other entities. And D. Synchronize and translate government policies into implementation plan and promote necessary executive legislative action. The assignment before the Presidential Advisory Committee on the Elimination of Drug Abuse, on the other hand, will be guided by the following terms of reference. Examine and understand the roles and the responsibilities of all stakeholders involved in the fight against drug abuse. Ascertain the extent to which each stakeholder has been able to play its role, discharge its responsibilities. Propose a working arrangement framework for effective implementation of drug abuse-related activities in accelerated manner and make recommendations to the federal government on the sustainability of interventions needed to eliminate drug abuse in Nigeria.
The president then assures that their recommendations will be implemented to ensure the country is not damaged by the drug abuse problem. Buhari has also revealed that a state implementation committee will be established in all states of the Federation to complement federal government's efforts nationwide. Unyi Adekunle, TV360, Nigeria.
Well, President Muhammadu Buhari has also been seeking the support of all African countries to fight corruption. Buhari made the appeal at the launch of the Corruption Risk Assessment Report in Abuja. He says all countries must work together to completely eradicate corruption.
It is in this context of building robust preventive systems that we must understand this initiative, which aims to train leaders of anti-corruption agencies in the African Union by deploying corruption risk assessment methodology for corruption preventing in our countries. Corruption risk assessment seeks to identify corruption-prone processes and procedures in organizations and recommend appropriate remedial steps. The methodology places a premium on prevention as an effective complement to enforcement in the war against corruption. In 2016, through support from the United Nations Development Programme, the Anti-Corruption Academy of Nigeria acquired the capacity to conduct training on corruption risk assessment. Since then, the Academy has conducted a number of these trainings.
And in the National Assembly, there was a minor drama in the Senate when a report to confirm officials of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission was submitted. The drama was triggered by a motion raised by Senator Victor Ome, who complained that individuals from the Southeast and South-South were not represented in the commission. Ome noted that of the 4 commissioners in the EFCC, 3 were from the North and only 1 from the Southwest. Supporters of the motion argued that the appointment was poorly distributed, though other lawmakers argued that the tribes of the members does not matter. Well, after a brief argument, the lawmakers went into an executive session where they agreed to suspend the confirmation for further legislative input. And the federal government and the striking academic staff union of universities, ASU, have reached a partial agreement. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, made the announcement at a reconciliation meeting aimed at finding ways of resolving the strike, which commenced on November 5. He noted that the meeting had identified one area to look for the funds for the validation of the appropriate government organ and would be contacted on the issue. Both parties are expected to conclude discussions next Monday. Well, News Now will continue after this break. Stay with us.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the go-to app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Corruption not in my country.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, madam.
My name is Alera. I am not sick. I just need you to help put your stamp on this medical report. I want to tender it at my office as a sick leave. I'll pay 10,000 naira.
Ma'am, that is impersonation. I'm not a doctor.
Oga, be like say this English no go pay. I go increase the money to 20,000 naira. I beg. You know, if I give you that 20,000, as you wide, so you know, if it still help your condition more. So you know, say you spread well.
As I spread like virus, I'll be.
You talk.
Come out! If person come your hospital, talk say make you give am fake medical report, make you go take collect sick leave. Talk and say no, na corruption. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Welcome back. Well, joining us now is Annetta Felix for the latest in business. Hello, Annetta.
Hello, Fidelia.
So at 145, some people say petrol is still very expensive in the country, and rumor has it that, or some people are speculating that the government plans to increase this price further, but the government has come out to debunk this. Do tell us more.
That's true. The Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency says the federal government has no plans whatsoever to increase the price of premium motor spirit known as petrol. The agency says the retail price of petrol remained at the subsisting price cap of 145 naira per litre and wants Nigerians to ignore the growing speculation on the alleged imminent increase in the pump price. It also commended petroleum products marketers in the country for embracing dialogue with the federal government to resolve the issues arising from payment of the outstanding fuel subsidy claims. Oil prices edged up on Tuesday, despite worries about global stock markets and doubts that planned supply cuts led by producer club OPEC will be enough to rein in oversupply. International Brent crude oil futures at $60.19 per barrel, while U.S. crude futures at $51.16 per barrel, and that's up 16 cents. The rise came after crude prices dropped by 3% the session before amid ongoing weakness in global stock markets and concern that slowing oil demand growth could erode supply cuts announced last week by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and some non-OPEC producers, including Russia. Crude futures have lost around a third of their value since early October amid the financial market slump and an emerging oil supply overhang.
Corruption not in my country.
How work? Oh, correct, Oga. What is it that you are doing?
Oga, they command the part now. Make we go sell for.
Oga, na correct kuza be this so. Oga Titus and him boys them. They do am. They will command the original parts, sell them, make plenty kusa.
No wonder our customers bring the generator back to our workshop because they bad. And not because of stuff.
Now because they overuse the generator. Plus say NEPA no they give them electricity.
Before I open my eye, Makachuku look at my talk in the heaven. Replace this original generator parts back inside this generator of my customer. In short, before una do am, frog jump. One, frog jump. 1, 2, 1. Stealing of generator parts or changing of original parts to a fake one. That is the corruption. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
The Nigerian stock market has staged a comeback after losing by minus 0.82% yesterday. The NSE market appreciates in key market indicators by 0.34% today, while the market capitalization gained by about 44 million naira to close at 11.220 trillion naira today. Now let's see the equities driving this increase, and we see basically that they're from the industrial goods sector, which increased by 0.66%, and Dangote Cement tops this list, recording an increase of 0.71%. Now this is coming as the Block Molders Association of Nigeria at the weekend described Dangote Cement's new product, Blockmaster, as the best cement for all seasons. Flour Mills of Nigeria PLC also increased by 5.00%. Forte Oil is on this chart for the second time this week, and this time selling by 0.85 kobo higher. UACN PLC recorded sell-offs yesterday, very huge sell-offs. They were on the top losers chart, but investors have picked interest in their shares, and they've climbed up to the top gainers chart by about 6.45%. Now we see our top losers, Cement Company of Northern Nigeria, leads the percentage laggards today, falling by minus 3.03%. And this is despite the news yesterday of a new merger with BUA Cement to enhance the output of the cement production in the country, and the promise that the merger between the Cement Company of Northern Nigeria and the BUA would be a better promise for shareholders. Now, taking a look at our top traders, we see that Zenith Bank of Nigeria sells over 58 million shares, realizing over 1 billion naira in today's trade. Sterling Bank and First Bank of Nigeria Holdings are selling the most stocks for the second time this week, and that's followed by Diamond Bank over here. Let's take a look now at the global stock. We see that it was largely bullish, with London and American markets recording gains. FTSE has actually stormed through the 6,800 basis points barrier to close at 6,824.67 basis points. U.S. equities also advanced on hopes about the prospect of success as U.S. and China begin trade talks, and that was late on Monday. But the markets, I must say, remain highly volatile, while Japan's Nikkei plunged further by minus 0.34%, and this is actually underperforming other Asian markets. That's the update from here, Fidelia.
Well, thank you, Annette, for that. Well, whilst you moving on to the foreign scene, whilst you're struggling to contain the spread of an Ebola outbreak, there seems to be more trouble brewing in the Democratic Republic of Congo. More details after this break. Stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
How work?
How correct, Oga?
What is it that you are doing?
Oga, they command the part now. Make we go sell for.
Oga, na correct kuza be this o. Oga Titus and him boys them. They do am. They will command the original parts, sell them, make plenty kusa.
No wonder our customers bring the generator back to our workshop because they bad. And not because of stuff.
Now because they overuse the generator. Plus say NEPA no they give them electricity.
Before I open my eye, Makachuku look at my talk in the heaven. Replace this original generator parts back inside this generator of my customer. In short, before una do am, frog jump. One, frog jump. 1, 2, 1. Stealing of generator parts or changing of original parts to a fake one. That is the corruption. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Well, at least 10 people have been killed in an overnight attack by a rebel group in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Local officials say suspected members of the Allied Democratic Forces ADF attacked the town of Oicha in the Beni region, where they looted property and animals. The ADF, which began as a Ugandan rebel group in the 90s, has been blamed for hundreds of killings since 2014. Insecurity in the east of Congo poses a significant threat to the elections, which are due to be held in less than 2 weeks. This latest attack is close to where health officials are struggling to contain the country's worst ever outbreak of the Ebola virus. Rebels fighting against Indian rule in disputed Kashmir have attacked a police post, killing 4 officers. Police say militants opened gunfire at the post in the southern Shopian area and killed 3 policemen on the spot, while another was critically wounded in the attack. The injured officer died while being shifted to a hospital. The attackers took away 4 automatic rifles from the post, and police say reinforcements of counterinsurgency police and soldiers launched search operation in the area to try to nab the attackers. No group has claimed responsibility for the incident. And in a bid to reach the knockout stages of the Champions League reaches its climax this week with Inter Milan, Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool among 7 clubs sweating to take the remaining 4 places in the last 16. Tuesday's matches include a number of blockbuster encounters as Liverpool hopes for one of those magical European nights at Anfield against Napoli in Group C, while Inter will be relying on Group B winners Barcelona to do them a favour and see off Tottenham Hotspur. Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool are sitting third in the group on 6 points behind PSG, which is 8 points, and leaders Napoli with 9 points. The Premier League leaders must win the match to have any chance of progressing, while the Serie A side needs just a draw at Anfield to guarantee their spot in the next round. Napoli could even lose and still go through if PSG loses to Red Star Belgrade. And La Liga has pledged to persevere with a long-term strategy of taking games outside of Spain after immediate plans to play Barcelona's January match against Girona in Miami were derailed by the champions' decision to back out of the fixture. Last month, La Liga filed a lawsuit in the Spanish court against the federation, which turned down its application to have the game moved, and whose president, Luis Lubarrias, has loudly protested the league's plans. And that's where we draw the curtains on this bulletin. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I am Fidelia Aguncha.